Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us and spending your short afternoon or a brief part of your afternoon with us. Appreciate you all being here. So today we have how to be a mentor workshop for you. We have a panel of a few of our alumni that are here to answer questions for you. So we'll go ahead. We have a meeting scheduled or the event scheduled from 6 to 7, and it is being recorded. So feel free to use the chat to ask your questions, or if you want to unmute yourselves at the end to ask your questions, you're welcome to do that as well. And I believe we have the hand function on here, so you can raise your hand virtually and your name will be called as well. Okay, so with that, we're gonna go ahead and go around the virtual room so each of our panelists can introduce themselves. Annie, I'm gonna start with you.
Hi, everybody. My name is Annie Delgado. I graduated from Cal Poly Pomona in 2020. I majored in marketing management with a minor in government contracts, and now I work as a procurement specialist for Northrop Grumman.
Thank you, Annie, and welcome. Thank you for being here with us. I'm going to have you go next.
I'm sorry.
Oh, Lauren.
Oh, you. Okay. Hi, I'm Lawrence. Though I'm currently a third year at Cal Poly Pomona, graduating in 2023, and I'm also an intern. Currently, an intern at Matthews Real Estate's investment service, and very nice to be here and talking to you guys.
Thank you, Minerva.
Yes, hi everyone. So my name is Minerva Lopez, and I actually just graduated Cal Poly August 2021 with in a finance, real estate, and law major, and I did a minor in contract management. So I actually work at Johnson & Johnson as a senior analyst doing contracts.
Thank you. And Justine, go ahead.
Hi, everyone. My name is Justine Zazadi. I graduated from CPP in June of 2020. I'm currently a procurement specialist at Northrop Grumman, and my major within Cal Poly was business management. I also minored in contract management as well.
Thank you. And Jackie?
Hello, my name is Jackie Myers. I graduated Cal Poly Pomona in December 2021. And my major was computer information systems with a focus in application development. And I currently work with Avanade as a senior business analyst.
Thank you. And DJ, go ahead.
Thank you. This is DJ and DJ Norman. I graduated from Cal Poly in 1993 with a major in management and human resources. And I've been working in the HR field for, 25 plus years now. I'm currently a director of recruiting at Meta, AKA Facebook, and glad to be here tonight and looking forward to the discussion.
So thank you everyone for joining us. And then Sherry, if you can introduce yourself in case for any of our students that may not know you.
Sure, Sherry Peters. I'm one of the 8 career counselors in the Career Center on campus, and I'm liaison to the College of Business. So happy to be here and be part of asking these great questions that came through.
Yeah, so Sherry will be our facilitator today. So thank you so much for helping us get this going. And then Anja and her team for helping us put this on. Anja, if you want to move on to do the overview of the Bronco Mentoring Network.
Sure, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. So I'm just going to briefly introduce you to a tool that you all can use as you're looking for a mentor. In November of 2021, we launched the Bronco Mentoring Network, powered by a company called People Grove. And the purpose of the network is to provide an online platform, a space for career mentoring for students, alumni, and even staff, faculty, and friends of the CPP community. So all are welcome to use this tool. There's different things that each of these groups can do, and I'll go a little bit further in depth in the next slides. So different things you can do on the network. It's not just for mentoring, but in addition to that, there's also groups. There's a function for searching for jobs, exploring resources and career pathways, listing businesses and viewing events. But there is a component for mentoring where you can message and schedule video meetings when you find and search for mentors. So you can all sign up. I'll put this link in the chat box after my presentation. For students, faculty, and staff that have a CPP account, you can actually use single sign-on and use your Bronco credentials to log in. It's also listed in the My CPP page for those on campus. If not, if you're an alumni and you want to use your LinkedIn account, you can also use those credentials to log in. So this is what the search function looks like. When you register, you answer a series of questions about your career goals and what you're looking for in the platform. Are you looking for a mentor? Would you like to mentor? Would you like to switch careers? And then the algorithm will match you with people that it suggests you to reach out to, and also, as you'll see later, some careers that they recommend you explore. So this is just an example of the chat function. You're able to easily chat. It also gives you recommendations and templates if you aren't sure really what to write when reaching out to a mentor. And then you can also schedule a video call. So instead of using Zoom or using your personal contact information, you can actually video call via the portal. All messages that are sent through the portal do get sent to your email, but it never divulges your personal email address if you don't want to. So you can do all your communication through the portal. There's a career pathways function, as I mentioned. So if you're not really sure what kind of career you're looking for, or you're looking to switch careers, you could answer a series of questions of what you're looking for, what drives you, and then it'll match you with careers that match your passions. It also allows you to discover paths by industry. So for instance, if you were to choose internet and software, it'll give you some careers that fall within that category. And then it also goes into, salaries, what kind of job functions you'd have, what kind of companies you might work for. So it's a good career exploration tool. If you're more comfortable talking or posing your questions in a group, we do have about 12 groups. From general career advice to more specific, like first generation students, Cal Poly veterans. We have our Black Alumni and Friends chapter that has a group, and our Latino Professional Alumni chapter also has a group. So you can, pose a question to the group rather than one-on-one. And then there's a pathways module similar to LinkedIn Learning, where you can take little training modules and you actually get a badge once you complete it on your profile. We partnered with the Career Center. So we have a feed from Handshake that goes directly into People Grove and lists jobs. So alumni and students can search for jobs through Handshake through our portal rather than using both systems. And then we also have general resources. So there's little videos, just snippets about different things. What is mentorship? Managing your anxiety. And then we do post our events. So events similar to this would be posted as a way for you to stay engaged with the alumni office. So that was just an overview, but that's just one tool in your journey to finding a mentor that I share with you. And I will go ahead and put the link in the chat. I'd like to turn it over to Sherry Peters, who will go ahead and start our alumni panel.
Great, thank you so much. I was actually helping a student today and we were looking at the different jobs. So that was awesome. So students use that CPP People Growth. It's an awesome opportunity to really network and then also to look for opportunities. So, all right, well, we're gonna get started here with a series of questions that some of the students that are on the call, you submitted prior to tonight's event. So, in no particular order, but if the alumni could answer the following question, can your mentor be someone you already know personally?
I can answer this. So I think that you can have someone that's a mentor that you know personally. I think that it would facilitate conversations, and you can definitely separate the professional questions you have from personal questions. A lot of the times when we're looking to find a mentor, we can easily get intimidated, but if it's someone you already know, you already have that relationship and that rapport with them.
I absolutely agree. And to piggyback off of Annie, I think if you are going to have someone that you know personally, to make sure that you have a candid conversation with them, to make sure that they can tell you what you want to hear or what you need to hear rather than what you want to hear. A lot of the times, if we know someone personally, they may be a little shy to tell us what we should be doing and what we need to be doing. And sometimes they think, okay, well, what do we think Jack here and he wants to hear? It should be, from my experience, this is what you should do. So just making sure that they can be uncomfortable asking you those questions and making sure that they really help you.
Yeah, okay, so yeah, Jackie and Annie, they had amazing answers, and I really want to add something to that is when you talk about, mentorship and things like that, or finding a mentor, you have to define the word mentor. Why is mentor? Mentorship is, someone who can lead you to, where you want to be, and the person who understands you and what you need. So when you talk about someone who you really know, or someone your family, something like that, that's an incredible opportunity. There's not that many people who have the opportunity like that. I'm mentor, well, currently I'm still mentored by my dad. Ever since I was little until now, he bring me everywhere I go. And for me to be at the person I am today, thanks to my family and the people who I know. So hopefully that really does answer the question.
Good. Anyone else on the panel have anything to add?
This is DJ. I would add one thing. I agree with all that's been said. I would also say, leveraging someone that you know to help you find additional mentors, right? Because the person knows you on a personal level, both your pros and your cons and, your developmental areas, they also would be a good person to help find additional mentors. I've always been in the position that's saying one mentor can't solve all of your questions, can't answer all of your questions. So always trying to turn one mentor into maybe another mentor that can offer different perspectives.
Great, thank you for that, DJ. Well, we'll move on then. There's a few other questions that I think are pretty good. What advice do you give on, and this can be taken a couple ways. So what advice do you give on preparing for the interview? And the way that I understood this question was, what advice do you give on preparing someone to interview a potential mentor?
Yeah, so I'll just start with I was saying, asking the right question is extremely important. When you talking to a mentor, or maybe like a prospect, someone who you would like to learn from, you have to understand that, your body language, or the person who you really are, truly, you also have to understand that, is this person gonna help me with what I wanted, or anything like that. But also being kind to someone, also really really important too. So I say, narrow down some of the questions, that asking about how I can leverage my career, how can I find why I want it, and asking the right question. I think that would be very very crucial.
Absolutely. I can piggyback off of that. Just asking the right questions. And I think one of the right questions would be, what is it that you're hoping to gain from this mentor? What is it that they have or they know that can really help you? I think you have to identify what it is that you do well and what are the things that you don't do well that this mentor can help you with, and clarify what you're asking for them. Clarify that this is a mentorship, this is what you're expecting, on both parts. I think mentorship goes two ways. So it takes the mentee and the mentor to be understood and in communication. I know for anyone that I mentor, or anyone that's I'm being mentored by, it's we both understand what the goal and the outcome and the expectations are. So I think just clarifying what it is you want from them and what the expected outcome is supposed to be.
Yeah, so adding to what Jackie said, I'm sorry if I keep going, but I really want to add something that if you are in this call, I really want you guys to, listen to this is like in the end of the day, you have to be respectful. You have to be kind. You have to be, a well character person. So I would say to be able to for someone to help you and to give you everything they have, you have to be a kind person first. And when you talk about some people, ask me, hey, what is the fastest way to become successful? Is being kind and being respectful. So I really want to add something to that.
To kind of go off what Lawrence was talking about, something that really, I got pointed out on was character. I think when you're, interviewing a potential mentor, you kind of see how your characters align with one another. I have some mentors that, guide me, and then I have another mentor who really challenges me. So it's kind of seeing how your characters align with one another. And are they going to tell you what you want to hear? Are they going to tell you things that are going to question your choices and build upon that and make sure that you're being the best candidate for whatever role you're trying to, apply to, or things like that, is really something that, helped challenge me this past year.
I really like the question that's in the chat. So maybe I'll jump on this. Does a mentor have to be in the same field as yours?
Absolutely not, because every single mentors have. It's just like every single person, they have different strength. So, example, like it could be like someone who is in the same field, and they could not be able to help you with what you want. So I'm trying to say is in every single person, there's something that you can learn from. So it doesn't matter, like example, you're a business major and that person is like an engineer or something like that, you still could learn from them. And I really want to say is, you can have more mentoring, you can learn to leverage every single corner of your characters, or building your profile in your career, things like that.
And I think it could work if the mentor is not in the same field as you, if you want to go into that field. So let's say you're thinking about going into a different department in the company you work for, or a different company, then you can ask them for advice on how to get there and what their daily tasks are, to see if you really want to go into that job title, or if you're still considering it.
And to piggyback on what Annie just mentioned, I think that, when I was a student, I kind of took it upon myself to interview, people in different fields, just because, even though I knew I wanted to, get into contract management, but I wasn't sure exactly in what realm I wanted to, to pursue. So I think it's definitely more to your benefit if you kind of branch out and get to interview and meet other possible mentors that are not necessarily aligned to maybe your field of studies, but it's always, you're never going to regret making those connections.
Yeah, good point. That was a really good question. So everyone kind of answered this first part of the question, but the next part is what's expected within mentorship? Formally requesting for someone to be a mentor, or perhaps if you could describe maybe what your experience was when you found a mentor. How did you come about asking if somebody would be your mentor? Maybe if some of the panelists could answer that for the students.
For me personally, I think that I took every route. I did it formally. I sent emails. I asked, hi, would you like to grab lunch? Or I remember there was someone at an event once, a business event, and I, just knew who she was, and I just asked her if she would like to grab coffee. I think any route that you can take from asking formally via email, phone call if you have their phone number, or text message if it's more of a personal relationship. Any way that you can kind of get your foot in the door to just have that communication and get that first one-on-one. There's no specific way I think that's right to do it. Whatever just feels comfortable for you, I think just ultimately will work in your benefit.
Definitely.
Oh, go ahead, Minerva.
Oh, thanks. So, I mean, I think visibility is also something, major, because I think that, being involved in extracurriculars on campus and at school does expose you to meeting those other, decision makers or mentors that, for example, they take notice of you and say, okay, I see this student, I've seen them at networking events or, on campus events. I want to get to know that person. And then sometimes they reach out to you. So, those are very rare, but I mean, it does happen. So I think also, just putting forth that, branding yourself as someone that, is a professional, a young professional, going to school, that definitely goes a long way as well.
And to add on, definitely being mindful of like your mentor's form of communication. So maybe in that initial conversation, if they accept to be your mentor, asking them what is their preferred form of communication, whether it's email, LinkedIn, if they want to give you their phone number or email, but definitely being respectful of what ways they want to communicate with you.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. One of the ways I've asked, I have a mentor in Seattle and never met them when I asked to be their mentor, but I made a connection just by commonalities. I would see their LinkedIn and see the post that they made. So it was about starting that initial connection with them. Because I think it's a lot. If you just meet someone for the first time and you say, hey, can you mentor me? I think that's a lot. It can come as a shock. So I always say, find some type of relationship and a common ground before you ask someone to be your mentor. Get to know them on a level that is common ground, and then you just directly have to ask people like, hey, do you have the capacity to be a mentor? Can you take me on? And this is what I'm expecting. What are you expecting? And then just finding a common ground. I have mentors all over the world, one in UK, and there's an 8-hour time zone. So we just make it work, and I talk to her once a quarter, and I'm okay with that because when we do meet, I make the most of our time. So I think it's just finding the ground for what you're trying to do for a mentor. But absolutely.
Yeah, I want to add a little more on Jackie's answer, about, building relationships. I really want, everybody to understand that building a relationship and is extremely important. When you talk about, you want someone to mentor you, it doesn't have to be like every single time you have to talk about, your career and things like that. It's okay to talk about, hey, what's your favorite animal? Hey, what do you like to do? Hey, you like hiking? Hey, what do you like to eat? Like that's like, hey, what's your favorite books? Like they're, in the end of the day, they're humans too. Doesn't matter if they're CEOs, CFOs, they're still humans. They still eat, they still sleep just like you. So that's one thing that I really, really want to add on to that.
That was really good, Lawrence. I definitely agree with that. And I just wanted to say, I think when you ask someone, or just how Lawrence was saying, you have that conversation with someone, you have it in your mind that, maybe this person will be my mentor. And that's great that you have that in your mind, but that may not always be the case. Like that person may not end up being, your mentor, and that's okay. And if you feel like you're getting rejected, like that's okay. Like if it didn't work out, there's a reason why it didn't work out, but you'll meet someone else and you'll find that you'll have a greater connection. So I just truly think, even with mentorship, like everything happens for a reason.
Great. Great information, I think, for students. So I think along with that, Justine, you kind of touched on this a little bit, but a student's asking, how do you keep that dialogue active between mentor and mentee, especially if somebody is super busy, or, should you look at a potential mentor who's in a junior level versus someone who's in a BP level? And how do you figure out if you don't have a lot of common ground, or the conversation runs out of steam, or you sort of talk about the same topics over and over again? What kind of suggestions might the panel give to students if they're concerned about that?
Okay, so I know. Well, that's to be honest, this is a tough question. So I really want to go into this. Is it's very tough when you try to you're like, oh yeah, this person, I'm getting mentored by this person, and then sometimes you feel like, oh yeah, I mean this person is too busy for you. The thing is, I'm telling you on my contact, I network a lot, and there's very high profile people on here, and I would say be respectful, and sometimes I would say example, if the person cannot meet you face to face, you can also being mentored by on text and things like that. So there are other type of being mentor. So being mentor doesn't need to be on the phone. So as long as you are able to learn something or leverage your career in some type of way, or the person could answer your questions, I think that's another way, another type of mentorship.
Absolutely. I think to Lawrence's point, mentors aren't mind readers. So in order for us to like really create value, we have to maintain a level of communication. And even if it's someone that's high profile, maybe questions that you can ask mentors: what do you wish you would have known if you had a mentor? What are always ask questions like, what would you do in my position? Or be honest, say, I know I want to learn from you. I'm running out of questions. There's only so much Google can give me. What are things that you wish someone would have told you? And that 9 out of 10 times has always worked for me. I've always said, what do you wish you would have known? And that just opens a can of worms. And through that, you can have meaningful conversations. Also, mentorships can be like 30 minutes long. You don't have to have hours and hours of discussion. I always say less is more. So if you have 30 minutes with someone and you have a great conversation, then the next time you can say, this was a fantastic time talking to you. The next time, can we pick up where we left off? Because sometimes you might want to get so much out of that one mentor session that you think you have to have all the answers solved, and you don't. So I think it's just making sure that you listen, as my panelists have said, like listen to pay attention to those nonverbal cues. Like maybe the mentor, the mentee is giving you something that you can pick up. So reading the room, whether you're in person or virtual, I think there's different ways of finding a method that works for you, for sure.
Definitely, and to make efficient use of your time and your mentor's time. I one of a really cool thing that happened to me was when I was going through the whole job application process. My mentor actually told me, you know what, make a spreadsheet on Google and share it with me. And I want you to put down all of the jobs that you've been applying to and tell me if it was a rejection or, whatever. So I pretty much, that was like a way that he could keep track of, what I was doing and the jobs that I was applying to. And, so to me, I thought that was, super an efficient way because, if I had a question about, maybe a job description, I would just put it on, on the sheet and just tell them, I'm not sure what this means. Like, can you kind of help me out? So, definitely a lot of your mentors will appreciate, just you having, being prepared every time that you meet with them, because, it definitely, it will, it becomes a better way for them to kind of guide you in exactly, how, best to, go about, applying or, or just answering any questions that you have.
Yeah, this is DJ. I definitely want to plus one to what Minerva just said. I do a lot of shared docs with my mentors, and we problem solve together, right? So I let them know what challenges or what strategies I'm trying to develop, and I'll share a document, and I just want their feedback. I want their input. Sometimes they might share another document with me to give me additional ideas. And if I have questions, I can add those inside the doc and they answer it back and forth. So we may not need to talk live all the time, but they can keep, this relationship going by sharing their knowledge in a async type of a way. So definitely a big fan there.
Yeah, absolutely. Just add just a little bit more. I'm saying is when you build a relationship, you have to, you know, keep going with the relationship. It's you when you have someone on the phone or, you know, in your contact and stuff like that, you know, there are some holidays, something like that, you know, it's take you about 5 seconds to say like, hey, happy holidays or something like that. You know, it shows the your mentor, you know, the people who are, you know, showing care about you, that you actually do care. You don't just go in there and trying to rip everything out of them. And yeah, so I'm just saying, you know, that's how you keep the connections and you know, containing it.
And I feel like from my personal experience, a lot of like high level people like to give their mentees assignments. So they'll always have something for you to do, or they'll have something to challenge you with and say, hey, we'll follow up on this in the next meeting. So I definitely think it's good to link up with someone that's in a higher position. And then like Jackie said, to ask them how they got to that place and maybe give you some advice on that.
Really good information. I didn't take any notes. I was mesmerized by what everyone was saying. So a student asked this question, and I think I'm going to add a little bit to it. The question was, how do you stay relevant? And I think that would be in regards perhaps to the industry or what the student is trying to pursue. So any advice on how a student could stay relevant as they go along speaking with their mentor? Let's say it's an industry that they're hoping to get into. How would a student stay relevant? Suggestions?
I think the ways that, at least for myself, ways I've stayed relevant is I utilize LinkedIn. LinkedIn's one of my favorite tools. I network with people not only in my industry, but outside of my industry, people of the same position or people of positions that I want to hope to attain one day. I think staying relevant is also getting yourself like on the ground again. Even though we're not in school, you can do projects, depending, like if you want to be a developer, do open source projects, talk about what you're doing. For me, I know a lot of people are shy to post on LinkedIn because it's like, what do you say? All these people are reading it. I always use my post sections as a way of explaining what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, if it's a new technology or accomplishment. So I always use professional networks or things like this to go to events or conferences. Like, I think that there's always something to do, especially with a hybrid model. There's many in-person / hybrid virtual events that you can attend to stay relevant. And that could just be hands-on projects, listening to people speak, TED Talks, tons of conferences. So I think that there's always, you can stay relevant. It's just, what are you willing to do? But anything you do is going to take hard work. It won't be easy. You just have to put a little bit of elbow face into it.
Yeah, that was an excellent you know, answer from Jackie, and I really want to emphasize this, you know, really quick is there are tools around. You know, Cal Poly give you every single things already. You know, there's so many things now than 20 years ago, and I really want, there's People Growth, there's LinkedIn, there's Google, there's YouTube, there's everything around, and literally LinkedIn, you literally can watch videos based on your, you know, your majors and things like that for free because you're a student. So technically, also joining affiliations is also one of the biggest key to stay relevant, to understand the materials, and to build connections with the people who are in the same career as you. So yeah, so that's my answer. Hopefully that really does answer the question.
This is DJ. I would add too, I definitely would agree. There's a lot of material that you can sign up for and be on distribution list of information that's relevant to your industry or to your role. And then what I like to do is I like to share those with my mentors or with people in my circle and say, have you all heard of this? Is anybody using this? And if you are, can you share how you're using it? And so you can apply it to your day-to-day life. But I try to take, 15, 20 minutes every week to read at least one article and share that article and have discussions. So that'll be one idea for the group.
I like that. It also, I think, helps students as they prepare for interviews too. If you're up on the subject, you know what you want to talk about, you have a good point of reference. did you happen to read such and such article from this place or that place? And so I think it'd be helpful even in an interviewing sense. So perhaps another question I think is pretty important is what would you say keeps a mentorship valuable over time? Maybe someone who's been a mentor or who has been mentored over a little bit of time. What would you say keeps it valuable?
I can try to take a stab. I've been a mentor and a mentee for quite some time. When I was at Cal Poly Pomona, Avanade had a STEM scholarship where it was not only a scholarship, but it was a mentorship program. So we got mentors along with scholarships. And one of the things that I think keeps it relevant or keeps it fruitful is just honesty. I think it's honesty, it's integrity. It's sometimes your mentor can't meet every month, and that's okay. I think it's like DJ said, having those asynchronous meetings. It's you don't have to meet every month, but no matter whether you're meeting or not, you should still be learning. I think for me, I've been able to maintain all my mentorships and mentees by just letting them be, by being honest. If I'm at a busy, crazy quarter for work and I'm doing a client project and I may not have the time, if I never had the time for mentees busy, to be adaptable and know that life happens. We're all humans, things happen. So I think it's just being honest. And if you're burnt out, telling someone you're burnt out. I've had mentors say, I really want to continue mentoring you, but I'm having way too many life events. Can we pick it up after? And that's totally cool. And even though we're in a mentor break, I still follow up on LinkedIn, send text messages. I'm a big advocate for sending cards to my mentors. So every holiday they get a Christmas, Easter, something card from me as my way of just saying, hey, don't want nothing, but just thank you. So it's like Lauren said, it's just really learning to maintain those value relationships and cultivating them, even if you're not benefiting for something. For me, being a mentor or a mentee is super self-rewarding. So I don't want or nor expect anything in return, just to be kind. Tough question.
Yeah, I know, definitely that was a tough question, but I really want to dive into, as a mentor, you have to show leadership. Why is leadership? You're a type of, person who, it's not on your own. You have, sometimes it's okay to like, you know, care, care and, trying to help out as much as you can. But sometimes, example, if you're too busy and things like that, just like Jackie said, it's okay to reschedule. Not everybody is free. Not everybody can watch TV all day. So yeah, I really want to say is, just the leadership abilities, kind of want your mentee to be great and not just, yourself and hey and this and that.
Definitely. And I think that, you know, don't think that just because you got a job now and you got hired somewhere that, your mentor does not want to hear from you, because they really do. They want to, they want you to vent to them and tell them, what's going on at your new job. So, because they do get that sense of, they're really proud of you, they're there to, cheer you on. And so I'd say, yeah, definitely don't let those mentor relationships die out, because, these people, they provided you with advice, when you needed it the most. So definitely just, you can show your gratitude by, just keeping that, that relationship alive. And like Jackie said, sending them a card or just a text, or even like liking a post, commenting on a post for, on LinkedIn, it goes a long way. It just shows that, that you're, you have gratitude towards, towards them. So, yeah.
Yeah, this is DJ. One thing that I like to do is I like to understand what my mentors are actually working on. And so if there is some research I can do for them, if there's something that I'm doing at, in my current role that could help them, sharing that information, right? So in any type of networking relationship, there's two ways of information, right? There's one that you're receiving and then the other that you're providing or sharing. And this two-way kind of a piece has always been helpful for me to keep the relationship fresh and to let them know I'm thinking about them, even when they're not like coaching me, but I might share something with them that they think might be useful for them in their current role to help them think differently or broaden their scope. So the two-way dialogue for me is really key.
Yeah, just to add a little bit more is example, if I'm like a mentor, right? And I have mentees and things, and example, I don't have time, I can invite them into like a webinar or something that I'm going to, or like an event that I go to. But like, hey, just come join me, go watch something online. Hey, sharing some articles and stuff like that. Just take a look of it. This is what I'm doing right now. That is, career mentee. But also, sometimes, like text is also very effective way to being mentor. And you can answer, and usually I'll say what I really want to get from my mentor is, how I can build my characters, how I can leverage my abilities to utilize, all the tools I have surround me. So
great. Well, thank you. Those were the questions that were sent to us prior to the event. So we do have a few minutes left here. So the students that are attending, if you would like to either add something in the chat, or if you would like to just unmute yourself and ask questions of our panelists, we'd be happy to listen and do our best to answer those questions. So don't be shy if you have questions for the panelists.
Sure, this is DJ. I do have one thing that I wanted to share while we're waiting for questions to come in. And you just kind of touched on it, but in my experience, folks are a little bit shy or hesitant to ask for what they want. And so one of the things that I hope folks take away from this call is just that, telling people we have some good examples of how you can ask formally for a mentor. And it doesn't have to be some long, drawn out, essay. It's literally, I'm DJ, I'm at this stage of my career, I'm looking for mentors, I noticed your information, are you open to having a conversation to determine if you could, be open to mentoring me? But asking for it sooner than later. I think a lot of people are waiting for this perfect scenario. And I think what we're learning today is there's nothing perfect about it. It's what you make of it, right? And so, be brave, leverage us if you're trying to reach out and you're not quite sure how to do that, ping any one of us and we can help you craft that message. But I think at the end of the day, take that step, bet on yourself, and I guarantee you will receive the support you're looking for if you ask.
Yeah, thank you, DJ. We did have someone ask the following question: what are good topics to go over on a regular basis, like quarterly or one-offs or recurring meetings that they might have?
I think usually, every month you want to get like a checkup on what you up to and the things that you're doing. You would want to tell your mentor, hey, I'm doing this. Like, what do you think about this? Hey, what kind of career path or something like that? Usually, on a daily basis, not daily basis, I'm sorry, weekly basis. I usually ask some type of questions that reoccurring to building characters and trying to be the best version of yourself as possible, how to stay motivated, and some of the questions that trying to get out of the mentor. Sometimes some of the career path and stuff like that you can ask some of the way, but usually you want to build your character first, and then later on, I promise you, things gonna go your way. So
yeah, I think just to kind of continue with what DJ was mentioning, I think it's going to depend a lot on what stage of 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 your career you're in or what you're trying to accomplish. I mean, if you're, if you still have a couple more years left at Cal Poly, of course you have, your questions would be significantly different than if you were just graduating in a few months. And you're applying to jobs already. But definitely, I would say that, like, explain to your potential mentor exactly what stage you're in. And then from there, they can definitely give you or tailor the advice that they're going to be providing to you. So yeah, definitely. It's there's so many ways that a mentor can guide you and help you, but you just gotta, introduce yourself and let them know, exactly, where you're at in life.
Yeah, and also if they work at a company you want to work for, don't be shy to ask for internship. I did that, so
Do it on LinkedIn. Honestly, I think for one of the jobs that I applied to, I kind of went on the alumni page on LinkedIn, and then I saw if there were any alumni that worked that, from Cal Poly that worked at, this company that I wanted to apply. And then I found only one, only one. So then I took that chance and messaged, this person. And you know what? They never messaged me back, but it's okay because you kind of strategize, and it helps you to strategize in a different way. So yeah, but our network, I feel, is really deep. So look at our alumni and try to make those connections.
Yeah, I'm going to piggyback off of Minerva's question or answer. For me, I just had a mentee that I'm mentoring. She was applying to a travel agency company, and she was in its like crazy stages. So she asked me, hey, do you have time in your schedule to meet every week leading up to the interview? So every week we met for 30 to 45 minutes to prepare her for each of the questions. I think one was like a behavioral interview, the other one's a case study. And being that I was aligned to project management, I was able to guide her. So I think it's like Minerva was saying, just depending on what stage you are, and then understanding the capacity of your mentor or mentee. Your mentor may not be able to meet every week. Maybe it's through text, maybe it's a quick thing. It does, like DJ said, it doesn't have to be this long drawn out thing. It just could be, hey, I have a quick question. I'm totally comfortable if my mentors or mentees want to text me or reach out to me. Usually the fastest way to get a hold of me, unless it's LinkedIn, is my second choice. So I think it's just depending on what stage you are that might need help, but you can meet whenever. I meet once a quarterly with my mentees, and my mentors asked to meet once to every 2 months, so every other month. So I think it just depends.
yeah, like talking to alumni in the companies that you want to work for, and also set meetings with them. Why text? Set meetings with them. Go grab a coffee or something like that. How I landed my internship? Literally, I just write out all the interview questions that is online, and that I'm gonna be approaching. I'll go ask them those interview questions and just write down whatever they answer, and I'll just leverage that and go to interview and answer just like them. So just that's how I do it.
And I think Natalie has a question on the chat. So I would say that, yeah, when you're, in the process of, when you're in your last semester at Cal Poly, I think that's kind of when you have to step it up and try to, network the most, probably, especially if you didn't start, earlier in your academic career. I think that was, I would say that probably was maybe my experience, but I would say that, yeah, that's when, you kind of, whenever, if you're able to secure a mentor, right, like, during that last semester, try to really, see if they can maybe put you in contact with other people that, that may be able to, give you some advice that way. Of course, there's always, you should really be involved in those clubs on campus, because they usually have guest speakers that present during their meetings. And start with your professors. Maybe professors are always really willing to help you, and maybe they know of alumni that still keep in touch with them, that could help you with job applications, things of that nature. But yeah, we have a really good people. And I know Sherry Peters, she can also guide you, and anyone here on this call can just leverage our help, and we'll be more than happy to kind of put you in touch with someone if or help you ourselves.
And I think also following up with like your resume and going to the Career Center, setting up a Zoom meeting, or if you can go in person. I know that I would touch up on my resume whenever I would have like different people come into our classroom, like a professor for a day and whatnot. And then something I found really helpful that helped me throughout my journey, and especially before graduation, was joining a club and creating a network through that. And that's how I found out about my now job, was through that club, because they had an event, and that's where I met my now manager. And of course, before that, I went to go to the Career Center to have them look at my resume and help me out with that. So definitely use all the resources that Cal Poly offers, because they come with your tuition.
Yeah, absolutely. I think to piggyback off of Annie, because she touched on so many of both ladies on fantastic points. It's not too late to join a club. I was involved in several clubs right at the get-go when I joined Cal Poly, just because I was like, I wanted to be a part, do and everything. I was like, any club, if I had the time, I would go. But I know a lot of people get kind of nervous, especially when you're just graduating or you're about to graduate. You're like, I have 2 months, maybe a month left, and I wasn't active in any clubs. It's not too late. You can talk to the clubs, you can reach out to them. They're still guest speakers. You can also, professors, 9 out of 10 times, every professor I ever had a research project that they were looking for some help with. So if you need something to do or get your touch with, talk to your professors. They're not scary. They want to help you. You just have to ask. And I think for me, it was looking at my network and the people that I was doing. So yes, like Minerva said, this is a season, if you're about to graduate, where you got to step up your LinkedIn. You got to let people know that you're applying, that you're hiring. Don't be afraid to reach out to any one of us on this panel. We're here to help you.
Yeah, really quick is also, there are affiliations and there are associations outside of campus, off campus. Example, like me, I do commercial real estate, and I go to ULI, Urban Land Institute. I go to, Now Up events. I go to all those networking events, and I'm telling you, landing a job, when you see someone in person is easier than, on the text. So
I did want to add to something that everyone's been talking about, which is join events. So at least so we're part of the College of Business Association Alumni Chapter on campus. And everyone that participates in an alumni chapter is someone that you want to reach out to, because they want to mentor you. They want to help you. They want to be a resource to you. So go onto the alumni chapter pages to keep up with when they're having events. They bring resources to you. Take advantage, write down their information. If they share their LinkedIn, add them, befriend them, and really use them to your benefit.
Great advice. Lots of really good information. So we have a couple of minutes left. If anyone has any last minute questions you want to ask this wonderful panel before I turn it back to Lorena, anyone else? I don't see anything come through, so I'm going to turn it back to Lorena. It's been really great being able to help out this evening. It was great being able to see all of the alum. Thank you so much for spending some time with us this evening. We really appreciate it. So I'm going to turn it back to Lorena for final thoughts.
Thank you, Sherry. So again, just want to be thankful to all of our panelists who gave up a little bit of the afternoon to, share all your wonderful knowledge and, encourage our attendees to really just continue to try to reach out to mentorship opportunities. Sherry, thank you for, again, facilitating this for us. This is recorded, so if you know of someone that can use this information, please, let them know it was recorded. Let them share the link and have them listen in. And again, just keep doing what you're doing. If you're here, you're already going in the right direction. So you have some resources here. Again, attend those events, join those, organizations like those clubs, and take advantage of what you have in front of you for as long as you can. Okay, and with that, again, thank you, everyone. Have a great night. I hope you guys enjoyed the event, and thank you for all the great questions and all the great responses and answers.